Alright, next we're going to check the overhead deep squat breakout, and for that, if this guy was DN, we would stay in the same position, feet pointing forward, put the hands behind the head, and squat down. Again, looking to see if we can break parallel, making sure the core stays relatively upright. If that's functional and non-painful, then you likely missed something with multi-segmental extension. You'll want to check that. If by some chance that was dysfunctional, then your next step would be to do an assisted deep squat. And so for that, you can have someone hold your hands, which, believe it or not, I will. Welcome, Scott. Introduce yourself. Say hi.
Hola.
All right. So Scott's going to hold my hands. I'm going to stay in that shoulder width apart position, and I'm going to squat down. Okay? If that was functional and non-painful, we would say that that's a stability motor control deficit, and you can use segmental rolling to further differentiate that extent. If that was still dysfunctional, you could go to half kneeling dorsiflexion, and for that you're looking to move the knee about 4 inches forward, which is roughly about 30 degrees of dorsiflexion. If that's functional, non-painful, you move on to the next step. If it's dysfunctional, then you know you have some sort of dorsiflexion mobility restriction. You still move on to the next step. From there, you would go to supine, and you would check knee to chest, holding the knees. And so that's going to assess the hip and the knees. If that's functional and non-painful, you can still go to the next breakout, but just realize you may have some sort of likely stability motor control dysfunction if dorsiflexion was clear, or you would go and treat dorsiflexion. Okay? If it's dysfunctional, we got to see if we can sort the knees out of the equation. And so for that, we'll go knee to chest holding thighs. Now if that was functional, you effectively ruled out the hip as a problem, and it's more likely potentially the knee being a mobility restriction or the ankle having a mobility restriction as well. If that was dysfunctional, then you know that you have some sort of hip mobility dysfunction. That's pretty much it for the breakout.